saw is nice and sharp. That's why he had his own shanty. Most of the loggers would have stayed in a camp car, which would have been dormitory-style cots, you know, just all bunk beds lined up in a row inside of a camp car. 80 to 100 guys in the camp. You got 3 hots and a cot. No place to spend your money, so you can come up here and accumulate some wealth. Some of these guys would work up here for 6 months at a time. They didn't go into town, because if you went into town, you had to pay for a room. So they didn't bother going in for a good long time, some of them. They came here to this country for jobs, to be able to make money, to build a new life, to bring the rest of the family over perhaps. Some of them did that, some of them did not. Some of them made money and went back home. It's just, you know, the way that it was.
Did you ever use a saw like that?
Did I?
Yeah.
And here is our Serbian shanty.
Here, buddy.
Now we're up to 1940s. See the camp phone? Okay. He's going to keep in touch with back at the mill. They're going to tell him, you know, what lumber they need to cut down, so what orders they need to fill. Look at the little tins up there in the rafters. Anybody know what that is?
No.
You got it. All right. You know that old saying, sleep tight and don't let the bed bugs bite? That could have come out of a log camp, okay? You got 100 guys up here bathing maybe once a week if they're lucky. So we had cooties. And what they would do is they'd use a little kerosene or a little lamp oil or something, comb their beard, comb their hair, keep the lice down, you know. So if you just combed down your beard with a flammable substance, you didn't want to let it strike. Plus, you didn't get a 15-minute smoke break in the morning and one in the afternoon. There wasn't a union up here. We were here to work. So that was the most favored tobacco product. This guy, he's got it relatively easy. These guys are surveyors. They got their own shanty. They insulated it with a little cardboard. Yep, we'd insulate it with cardboard, newspapers, whatever you happen to have handy. It was his responsibility to determine where the next cuts were going to be done, keep the journal, keep the log for the day, the worker's log, things like that.
You go back to Stone Town.
This is the Mallor Lumber Company camp car. Mallor Lumber Company took over in 1942, and what we have it set up inside as is the dining hall and kitchen. Those two things actually would have been in separate cars, but we have it all set up in one because this is the only camp car we have up here right now.
Come over this way.
Yeah, we go out that way if we put it in down. Okay, thanks.
Your shoes are
yeah, bless your heart, thanks. Yeah, that was strictly enforced. No talking at the table rule was strictly enforced. The cook had 80 to 100 people to feed 3 times a day. You were supposed to be out there cutting down trees. It wasn't a social event. So you come in, the whistle blows, you come to the eating shift, you come in and eat. Whistle blows, you go back out for work.
Well, and I'm sure they were hungry enough.
Oh, yeah. They were fed very, very well. It wouldn't have done the company much good if you had people who were you know. And they said that a typical logger probably consumed 7,000 to 8,000 calories a day. And if you look at them, there's not a fraction of them. They're so beautiful.
Breakdown train. Whatever one was going through, the other one was too. Yeah.
This is a diesel log loader. Yeah. built in 1939. Now, before we had the diesel log loader, what they would use is horsepower. Okay, over 200 head of horses worked in the mountains here with the loggers. Now, what the horses would do is, on your siding like this, you would have the train set up, have a siding set up for the log cars. There would be another one right above it, okay, that was higher. And it had a nice, long, even slope so that the horses could drag the cut timber up and the loggers could roll the logs down onto the log cars. 14-foot length, that's what's called a tree length. That's what they cut in those days. Now you figure our hardwood tree maxed out could be 4.5, 5 feet across at the butt. If this is a butt log, this is 3 tons anyway, maybe more, of material. So obviously a couple guys aren't going to pick that up and toss it on the back of a log car. So that's why they had the other siding so they can roll them down. In comes the diesel log loader. A great thing for the company, mechanization, less horsepower, less horses to take care of and feed and maintain. Probably aren't going to need the smithy in the camp anymore either after a while. That's where that story, the poem The Village Smithy, came from. Most of those guys were log camp smithies that went down into the villages and had families and stayed and had a community that they worked for. Here you've got the diesel that's on rails. It can go from car to car, load up all these empty log cars. Then the train's going to go down. The log train's going to go down the exact same way that we just came up the track, okay? Going to go down past the store, go through the switch, back up along the mill. There's a mill pond, was, at the end of the mill, about 3/4 of an acre that's flooded by the Leatherbark Creek, okay? The track comes up, cantilevers, you can roll the logs in. Again, we're going to let Mother Nature, help us get this tree into the mill. So they're all floating around in there, all these logs. The pond monkeys. I got hobnail boots, a nice long pole with a hook on. They're going to use rafts or walk the logs, and they're going to guide them over to something called a jack slip. This is coming out of the end of the mill. It's like a roller coaster, like a wooden roller coaster with a chain up the middle, okay? Chain continuously moving. It's got barbs on it, hooks on it. So here I am, the pond monkey, and I'm guiding my log over here onto this. It picks it up, takes it right into the mill. Okay. First thing that comes off is the bark. The bark goes down to the extract plant. We're going to extract tannins and dyes and things out of there to be used at the shoe factory. And for stains, this extract plant in Cass, we found out last year, extracted Osage orange for World War I Army green fatigue.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of things happened here at Cass that people don't realize that make us a global entity, really. A piece of paper was found in an old box, some old records they were going through. They were throwing things away in the 80s. Somebody recognized the letterhead, the Wright Bicycle Company. 2 brothers, Orville and Wilbur, wrote to the Cass Mill. They heard that red spruce timber was extremely close-grained, very strong, yet lightweight. So they wanted to try some because they were doing this flying thing. So they purchased lumber from the Cass Mill. It was used in the number 3 Wright Flyer. That's the one in Smithsonian today. Okay, got the most airtime. So right here in the Little Hills of West Virginia. Yeah. So if you're ever going through great-granddad's stuff, don't throw it away without reading it real close. So that's almost what happened here. Let's go check out the skidder, because now we've got this great diesel log loader to put our logs on the train. It still takes way too long, and it's really hard. You look at the terrain here, okay? So I got my camp here, and I got all this timber over here I want to bring in. So this is what helps us do that much, much more effectively. Operated over at Meadow River Lumber Company. They gave them to us here, donated it today. We tell you what it looks like to log in the mountains of West Virginia, okay? This is a skidder, steam skidder. Right where those 2 gentlemen are, that spar right there would be ratcheted up by its own power. Okay, we'd bring it up, boom, 85 feet of elevation with that spar. Look at the top of it. See the yellow part? That can be rotated the whole way around. I have a little drawing here I'm going to let you guys pass around, because this is going to show you what the skidder looks like then when we've got it all rigged up and we're ready to haul in some lumber, okay? Got my spar up over here. We're all set up. It's all tied down with guy wires and all set up. I send a team out, loggers and horses, to take all this heavy equipment out, okay? And we're going to take an old tree out there that's going to be our designated the opposing tower. So I've got my spar and my skidder here and my tower out there with everything lined up. Think of a row house in the city with like a clothesline going between. So I'll just pull it up, okay? With the added attraction that I can pick stuff up off the floor. All right. So what we do now, 2 days ago on my tour here was a man that worked on this very skidder right here. He was with Meadow River Lumber Company from 62 to 66. He was a choker. The choker is the man out there in the camp who takes that heavy cable and puts it around the logs that are down on the ground and clamps them, and then the cable that's coming down, this, he hooks that, it's like a little S-hook, onto that cable. The whistle punk, that's the man who's out there where this choker's working, okay? He's the one who signals the leverman in here. He's got a battery with him, it's like a car battery, and wires that are attached to a whistle in here. So he's letting the guy know when to pick it up and bring it in. The choker said you always made sure the whistle punk was a good friend of yours. He said you bought him a beer once in a while because you didn't want him whistling to bring that thing up, because your arm is going to go up with the log. Yeah. But it was, because I asked a lot of the guys, we get a lot of loggers that come in here, current day loggers, and I would say, and the one guy said, so what good does the hard hat do? I mean, we're talking 3 tons, swinging over your head as you're putting it on the log car. He says, well, ma'am, that makes it easier to find the head. After they just knocked your block off. So there you go. I got that from a logger, okay? So really, it just, the point I'm making is...
So this thing comes up like that?
Yeah, comes up in this end.
Yeah.
This is our spar right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it would be like laid down there, cranked up, standing up in here. You can see where it would be braced right onto there, okay? So, and plus then that can be rotated. So for 3,000 feet, the entire way around, wherever I have this skidder, we can cut everything down, bring it in. Yeah. And they did. Yeah, clear cut the whole mountain.
They what?
They clear cut it.
Yeah.
Some areas had the second cut. They let
Now,
some
did they
of
ever replant trees?
There was some reforestation done, yes. But we're talking the era before that.
Oh, yeah,
really.
I know.
Yeah. So, yes, there was some reforestation done. They actually, before they had the skidders, what they used to do is they used to be pretty selective. They take the big stuff out and let some of the other stuff mature, because they had every intention of coming back in another 20 years and doing some more cutting. Figure they cut here for 60 years. So they did some of that, too. Now, Bald Knob, that was cut twice. That was cut originally, and it was second cut, too. That's why they called it Bald Knob, because they pretty much did take everything off there. When he blows the whistle, we have to get on board. So I always like to end my tour now and let you guys know there's a beautiful view off of that ramp over there. So go on up, check out the skidder, check out the view.
What is this thing here, then?
That would all be part of the rigging for the cable. So on here, probably.
All the drums and everything.
Yeah.
Put the cable out. And they could take them, like you said, 3,000 feet and pull everything back.
Yeah.
Just like a machine goes in a woods today and drags them out.
Yeah.
This thing could drag, they might hook onto 15 different big logs at once.
Exactly. Yeah. This right here. Yeah, because of this, the tricycle pulley apparatus. Now, when we do the Bald Knob trick, we go through an area, it's not too far above here, where on one side of the train it's straight up, and 225 feet up there have been a skidder set. And as it overlooks, you can see over, it was 3,000 feet over to the other side, to the mountain that was facing us, and they cut and brought in. And so those logs were hanging 500 feet over the Leatherbark Valley. And see, that was great, because when you had horses doing that, it was difficult to do. What they would do, if you haven't seen the Cash Showcase yet, make sure you do that, okay? Because that's free. All of our interpretive stuff here is free. And we've got this huge model diorama of the town and everything in there, but there's also a tiny little portion of that is what was in the logging plant. They would take logs that were all about the same diameter and split them. And then they'd prop them up and say, this is trees, huge stumps. And they would make like a chute, like a log slide. And in the winter they'd ice it down. So that way you could shoot the logs down into an area where they could be put onto your train without busting up your horses, because it was just too steep. The terrain was too steep. So once the skidder came in, you didn't need that. You just slung that cable out over there and just pulled them over. Yeah.
Now this thing here,